I'm going to show you guys how I made over 16 RR yesterday on the Wednesday, 22nd of April. Let's get right to it. So the first trade that I was looking at was Euro and GU. And if you've seen my weekly outlook, you know that I was bearish on Euro to take out these drawn liquidities. So if you look at the chart that I shared, which was the same one from the weekly analysis, you can see this is my drawn liquidity, my very close drawn liquidity. And you can see since market opens on Monday when I shared the first weekly outlook, you can see price has been trading down towards this direction. So everything correct as I mentioned. So if you watch that video and you know how to trade, for example, congrats, because you must be making some good money. Okay. So let's bring back a few candles, and let's say here this is what I was looking at. Initially we had an SMT with Euro with Tuesday, so we have a Monday range, right? We have Tuesday making that. You can see it closed bearish. We didn't see ISD, but it closed bearish. And GU, clearly the stronger pair, even though we made this SMT, which is making it's making a lower high. You can see that the way it closed here, it's showing that GU is technically stronger. Okay, so when I go into the day, this is how the day is about to open for me. Okay, so I'll let Asia go by. Okay, and if you see, this is how the Asia candle opened. Okay, now what I'm gonna wait for when I see this candle is I have this strong liquidity. I'm looking for price to take out something on from Tuesday if I'm bearish, so one of these highs, to then continue going for sells, right? So I have this high marked out, you have this high marked out, so either one that gets swept is what I'm looking for. Again, I marked the same on the right hand side on GU. This is the 1900 candle, which is the first one I marked here, and you can see that this candle has already been swept. So if I'm bearish, I'll have to look out. So I know the sessions, I don't trade Asia. So what I'm going to have to do is let out till London opens. Okay. So London is opening here at 8 o'clock. This is 7. This is pre-market, pre-London. So we're trading higher. And then I have 8 o'clock here, which is pretty much an inside bar. Now what I'm waiting for is that we take out or we do something with this candle's range. And then I will look to enter into price because I'm bearish. My target is previous day's low. So you can see price has made a bullish SMT fill here to trade higher from, right? We filled in this gap here, we didn't. And then on this 1 hour candle, I can see, well, actually nothing has happened yet, sorry. And then on this candle right here, the 11 o'clock candle. So I don't trade 11 o'clock at all, but if something happens in it, then I will consider it, right? So I can see at 11 a.m., I can see that we've created now an SMT. Now we've taken out 1900 high right here. We've taken this out. So we have this SMT, this is my first stage. And then I have my second stage SMT, which is like here, right? You can see also 10 o'clock has created a PSP, but that's not really relevant in this case. And if you look in the 4 hour time frame, it also looks very nice because what you're having here then is again 2-stage SMT, and with the 4 hour candle we're making an SMT. Now once I got this SMT, I'm looking onto lower time frame because now the 12 o'clock candle is going to open and I'm going to be looking for sells. Okay, now if I'm looking here, if I go one candle forward, you can see just by looking at this where EU is closing bullish here and GU is closing bearish, it's telling me that GU intraday on the day is kind of weaker, even though the higher time frame Euro is a lot weaker. Okay, so in general, when those things happens, you can still just take Euro sells, right? But as I'm day trading, I want to take what's relatively weaker at the moment. But since I'm already swings on Euro sells, I did take my chance on GU. Okay, so then what I waited for is we wait for an SMT fill. So we've had this SMT fill already like this, but there was no change of state delivery on the 1 minute, so there was no break of structure. So I have to wait for the next candle. And the next candle here, so far still nothing, because if I go to the 1 minute time frame, right, we did see ISD, right? So it's all looks good on that perspective. However, I would wait for the next 15-minute candle open with 1245, and if we see ISD that, then I will short. Okay, the only reason I'm doing that is because right here we've taken, there's no SMT fill, we have no cracking correlation, we just have a change state delivery, which isn't enough for me. Okay, I need at least one cracking correlation in continuation. And that was a good decision, because then price now takes out 1145 candle, and you can see GU, it does not tap 1145 and there's a gap. So this is a strength switch SMT fill, right? What I mean by strength switch is that GU was the stronger pair, making a higher high, while Euro was making a lower high. And then what we got is that Euro is making a higher high, while GU is making a lower high. So this is telling me that strength is switching, that the GBP is becoming a weaker pair. So once I saw this, I go straight to the 1 minute time frame, because that's how the candle closed. And I can see before the 1 hour, but the next 1 hour candle opens, I already have a change of state delivery, right? So I just entered off of this candle closure, stops at around this high. I gave a bit of room because there's I don't trade on futures on GU because it's really choppy. I only trade Euro if I were to trade futures. So I'm on CFDs, and there's a slight maybe 3 points slippage. So I give some room for that. And then I was marking my TPs, right? I wanted the previous day low, but you know, GU is a stronger pair. So I adjusted my take profit to this right here for a 9.6R, which is this unopened mitigated wick, and that's also a -2 standard deviation. If you have a look here, and I put my my standard deviation tool, you can see, you can see that my take profit was in the -2 area, so that's perfect. Okay, and then pretty much when I entered, you can see that then price dumped, beautiful dump there. And then price just kept continuing going lower without any sort of pullbacks. So I TP'd one here. I closed around 80% here. Yeah. And then I let the rest close here. And then I left 10%, which then eventually got hit break even, which you'll see now. So I hit all my TPs here. Left a little bit for previous day low. But yeah. Since EU is weaker, we do hit previous day low on that first, but we do get some sort of reversal. You know, Trump news these days, like it's crazy. So you can see it really reverses. GU goes all the way back up, all the way back into my entry, while Euro doesn't because it's weaker, right? So it's staying in this gap, okay? Now, I did share the trade in the Mindvest channel in my Discord, right? You can see here, 8RR secured on GU. I shared when I shorted. I went short literally on the dot. Obviously, you will not get the same entry as me because it dumps, but it gives a nice retest right there, pretty close back to my entry, and then hits TP for 8RR where I partial most, then closed like 9RR. So on the past 2 days, that's already 13.5RR shared in my Discord. Unless, you know, I don't even share all the trades that I take. So that's already 13.5RR. That's more than what probably most of the people will make, and I'm doing that live. Okay. Now, if we are bearish, you could still go shorts, right? Because now our daily bias is that we are bearish on GU and Euro, right? We are bearish on Euro, and we've had that established since the start of the week, right? So we know where price will go. So as New York kind of retraces back, you can see on the 1 hour time frame, we do have this gap. So if we were to reject or retrace, because we technically now also have an SMT with that high, right? If we were to reject, let's now get DXY, for example, on the right hand side. Maybe it's more correlated, right? So if we were to reject from this area, I want to see a 5-minute SMT in the gap, and then we change our state, right? So here's the 5-minute. The new candle opens here. Let's see what happens. Okay, so you can see already here, this is the SMT. Okay, once that SMT was formulated, right, you can see, let's bring back a GBP USD, right? Once that SMT was formulated, just like that with 1600, I wanted to go short, but I wasn't looking at the chart, and kind of priced and just right. So it would have got filled there with the 5-minute retest. and then price does hit previous day low later onto the day, and that's where you could have taken another trade, if for example, right, and you could have caught yourself like a 1 to 3 hour on that trade. Okay, so that's just showing you the trades that you could have taken, right, because we are bearish, right, because we want to see price go lower. That's how you can trade that. Now the next setup that I was looking at is NQ and YM. Now, okay, YM is now pulling back. Okay, sorry. So if we go back and play a replay, now if we go back to play the replay, now what I'm seeing here is I'm waiting for NQ to take out this high first. Now the thing is that we don't have an established low of the day, so you can see the low of the day is opening here, and we don't have a established low of the day yet. So I'm waiting for that high to get taken out. Now, when I see what happens on the next 4 hour candle like this, where we are very close to taking it out, which we did not take it out yet, I'm waiting for that high to get taken out, okay? But what's super important to know that if we are getting priced that it's failing to manipulate that high, so you can see this candle here, it is not manipulating the previous day's high. It does not means that this candle now will no longer be able to retrace back into the daily open, that which was my target. Once this happened, you know that at NASDAQ for your day, if you are bearish, it will not reverse. This is an expansion. This is a clear break. If you were to short NASDAQ, you would need a strength switch at these highs at the next 90-minute or 1 hour candle. So you'd need something there. So we didn't get that. So when I see YM, I can see now we've actually set this 2 stage, which is still valid, even though YM is expanding away. And I would honestly, when I look back, I wish that I didn't take this trade, because in reality, YM should have catch up to NASDAQ failing to manipulate this high, but YM never got the strength switch to go higher. Okay. So once we created this, now this is a PSP, right? This is closing bearish, this is closing bullish. I'm watching the next candle, and I'm only going to focus on YM shorts to the daily open because there's no low of day. Okay, so now I can see we've set a 2 stage like this, right? But there's no strength switch 2 stages yet, right? It's just the weaker asset being the weakest asset, right? And I want some sort of strength switch to occur for me to kind of go for sells, right? And I saw, since RTY is also kind of more correlated to YM than anything else, I saw here already that since RTY is the weaker pair, we've set a SMT with a 4 hour open. And what we also have is this is the low of the day, which will get tagged first on RTY. So this is the daily open, okay? Now this trade I did not share in Mindvest. I just took it, and I didn't want to share it even though I want to retest my entry, because again, I wasn't confident. I really, it's more of like a lucky trade, to be honest, in my opinion, but it's still a lesson to be learned. So if I see this is the daily open that I'm looking for YM, and this is the one on RTY. Now we've created this SMT, and we know this pair, look how much closer it is to daily open than YM. Okay, you can see this candle is expanding. Now what I want to see, since we're opening now the next 90-minute candle, I want to see some sort of strength switch where RTY slightly becomes the stronger pair so that YM can catch up. Okay, and if I see this candle here, there's nothing yet. We've just taken out the slow and we're trading kind of higher. Okay. Now this candle here is what I'm looking at. So I know that the drawn liquidity hasn't been hit on RTY yet, which I always say look for strength switches after draws get hit. But in this case, it's already making its move towards that low. And if you see the 15-minute time frame, you can see where the RTY is taking out the previous candle's high, while on YM it's not. Okay, so then that's when I'm watching the 1-minute time frame. You can see both assets have expanded further, very far. And remember, continuation, you just need a one stage plus a V-shaped reversal. So you can see there, we've V-shaped reversal, pretty obvious there. We've V-shaped reversal. So we V-shaped reversal. And that's when you can put your short like this, because when you're watching here, they all V-shape, and you enter like here, stops at these highs, which never get tagged, and your draw is down here at that daily open level, right? So when I'm in this trade on YM, you can see that I get stopped out. Okay, if I'm playing my system in these markets, they don't all work, so I got stopped out. And that's the trade that I shared initially in the Mindvest server, which I closed for a slight loss. But then yet again, if I look here, this 50-minute candle, it's still it's a two stage. Okay, so since I had for one stage and they both CSD, that's just reality, but now it's created two stage. Okay, so if you are right, depending on your model, if you expect two stages to always kind of occur, then you can always have your stop loss at the first initial SMT, right? If you are trading the 1 minute time frame, I don't think there's anything wrong doing this, but when you're trading hard time frame where the SMT that's being formulated here, where the one stage has so much pips that ruins your stop loss dramatically, I would keep it like this, right? It's just probabilities, right? So if I got stopped here, because this is my system, I'm not going to put it up here. I've got everything that I need. It failed, and now we created that two stage. I'm going to wait here to see if we V-shape reversal. So we've already inversed, we didn't see ISD, but we inversed, and we have this bearish 1 minute gap. So I want to see if price taps into it and creates a bearish reversal from it. Okay. We've also created within that 50-minute candle another SMT here, which it's not important, but yeah, it's there. And then I'm waiting for then this next 30-minute candle open, which is here. And you can see now that price is tapped into this 1 minute bearish for value gap, and it's CISD'd, right? So once this candle closes, I'm entering, stops at these highs, and I'm targeting those lows like I mentioned. Now, again, the markets were moving crazy in the afternoon, right? So I was stuck in this trade along for 4 or 5 hours, almost hit my target right here, and then price just kept going higher. And then we hit it as Tesla came out their earnings, and if you trade futures, you know at 10:15 markets they close your position. So I hit TP right before it closed out, so that's perfect. A nice 4R when I minus that RR. So 8 plus 4 is 12, minus 1 is 11. Yeah, that was very, very clean, right? And you can see if you go back to NQ, it just kept trading higher because there was no signs of reversals, right? This is why just stick to what cleans best. Don't say because YM is a lot lower, NQ should go lower too. That's not how the markets work, especially when we are in decoupled, decorrelated markets, right? With these Trump stuff, it's been going crazy, right? That I must say. So it's very difficult to kind of see those things, okay? So that's exactly how I took my trades. Okay,